Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the fifth meeting of the WRC Advisory Committee. Unfortunately, Tom and Jared weren't available for this meeting, so I'll be giving the opening remarks. Maybe I'll just give it as more of an engineering standpoint, so some statistical numbers. I think we are closing in on 75% of proposals being submitted to the WAC. And we have, at this meeting, also consideration of three proposed suppressions of preliminary agenda items and a new future agenda items for NGSO use in the 18.6 to 18.8 gigahertz band. If you haven't done so already, would you please sign the sign-in sheet so we can verify that we have a quorum? With that, I will hand the floor over to George.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining our WAC meeting today. I owe Tom Sullivan an apology because a couple weeks ago I had suggested that we cancel this meeting because I didn't actually think we would have anything to advance at this meeting, but I was very pleased to be surprised here, and we have 7 items that came over from NTIA through the RCS process, so thank you for that, and we've started considering them, and we'll be attempting to reconcile them to the extent possible. Separately, I counted 11 different proposals that the different IWGs were able to prepare, and so hopefully we can get those approved. And just note to all, as State Department alerted us, the train is leaving the station. We have a clear mandate to provide recommendations for all of the agenda items. And so Kim and I have been somewhat on the sideline for the first 2 IWG meetings, but for those subsequent IWG meetings and the offlines, we will be working hard to drive consensus, and there's no more holding out. It's time. We're going to get our U.S. proposals done early, and we're going to get them to CTEL and try to garner support much earlier than we have in the past. So with that, let's get started with the meeting today. We'll start with the approval of the agenda, which is document 51. Alan, if you could open that. Okay, so the agenda is on the screen. I have one editorial comment. Item 5 says IWG status reports and consideration of preliminary views. We are now at the preliminary proposal stage, so if we could just change that and upload it for the next ECFS upload. Aside from that editorial, can we approve the agenda here?
The FCC Ethics Office asked that I make a recusal statement. When should I do that?
We have a section at the end where everybody will get to stand up and you'll get to make your own statement.
Okay, the entire agenda is not visible.
Okay, so Alan, if you just want to scroll through very slowly so folks can see. At the end of this page, item 7 is other business, and there's sub-bulletin disclosures. So with that, are we good to approve the agenda? Seeing no hands, the agenda is approved. Moving to document 52, which is the minutes for the 4th WAC meeting. Thank you, Alan. If you could scroll through slowly just so everyone in the room and on Teams can see it. Okay, we've reached the end of this document. Can we approve this minutes? See no objection. Document 52 has been approved. Moving on to item 4 here, which is update from NTIA in the RCS process. Dr. Patton, I believe you're going to be giving us an update. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Do that. Can everybody hear me now? Okay, great. Thank you, Chair. And my name is Brian Patton. I'm from NTIA. I'm in the International Spectrum Policy Division. I'm here to provide you with an update on progress at NTIA in developing WRC 27 proposals. We recently sent over what we consider a very large tranche of proposals for the WAC process to consider. We have had a lot of progress in the RCS. There's very little that we have left to do, but what I will mention in the RCS is that I have given a charge to the RCS to look at the preliminary agenda items for WRC 27 in going forward. Excuse me. And we are also starting work on future conference agenda items. But for now, what we've given the WAC to consider is a proposal on agenda item 1.1 on aeronautical and maritime eSIMs at 50 gigahertz. A proposal on 1.6 on equitable access for FSS in 30, 40, and 50 gigahertz. Agenda item 1.7, which is on terrestrial mid-band IMT, we've broken that out into different frequency ranges. So for 15 gigahertz is this proposal that we've sent over. We sent a proposal on agenda item 1.8 on radio location above 231.5 gigahertz. We sent over a proposal on 1.9 on Appendix 26 aeronautical HF modernization, and on 1.17 on space weather. And we've sent over 2 proposals for agenda item 1.18, which is on protection of EESS and RAS above 76 gigahertz. We broke this out into 2 separate issues. We've called them Issue A and Issue B. Excuse me again. Because these are really 2 separate resolves in the resolution 712, and they were actually handled by 2 separate working parties in the ITUR, so we treated them as if they're 2 sort of sub-agenda items. So we sent these over for your consideration. We are pleased to note that with the help of the designated federal officials, these have been distributed to the IWGs and introduced, and so they are being considered, which we appreciate, and we look forward to working with FCC and reconciling these proposals for submission to CTEL. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just real quickly, while we have you there, how many more proposals should we be expecting from RCS this summer, and when, if you're able to estimate?
We are currently working on perhaps, maybe, I can't speak for what the RCS is actually going to produce, but we are working on perhaps 1 or 2 more proposals that we would send over to the IWGs soon. We have a meeting on Thursday of the RCS where we will be considering a couple of potential proposals. And also understand we have not done anything yet on agenda item 7, which now has 5 topics to consider. And I will be putting that to the RCS in our meeting on Thursday to ask them what federal interests do we have in the separate topics for agenda item 7, and we could better report that to you at your next WAC meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And the 2 agenda items that we might receive proposals on, which are those?
One of them will be, I believe it's agenda item 1.12. And I don't remember off the top of my head what the other agenda item is, but we may work up one more proposal.
Got it. And
Okay.
then my last question, preliminary agenda items, future agenda items?
We are looking at all of them. I believe there are 12 of them that are on the preliminary agenda for WRC 31. We currently have a survey out to the federal agencies to collect federal agency opinions. We're not writing proposals on these because they've already been proposed and they are on a preliminary agenda, which has been approved by the WRC. But what we are doing is we are surveying the federal agencies to see that after these 4 years have gone by, which preliminary agenda items do we support becoming real agenda items on the WRC 31 agenda, which are we neutral on, and which do we now want to have changed or suppressed?
Noted. So I lied. That was my second to last question. Last question then is, will we receive the results of the survey as part of this WAC cycle, or will we have to wait until the next WAC cycle?
You will probably, it will be the end of this calendar year is my plan to have to finish the survey and to have potential ways forward from the federal viewpoint. So probably not before the end of this calendar year.
Thank you. Does anyone in the WAC membership have any questions for Dr. Patton? Seeing none, thank you very much. Okay, we've moved on to now the fun part of the meeting, where we will run through the different informal working groups, and each of the chairs has prepared a report that they'll come up here and advise you all on, and we will then run through each of the proposals that the informal working groups has approved on a consensus basis. So with that, we'll start with IWG 1, Kim Kolb.
Hey, thanks, George. So IWG1 has met twice. We have some documents there. We have none for approval today, but 1.8 is in progress. We didn't quite get to the end of that during our meetings, but we have a group offline working on that one. We expect to have some of the preliminary agenda work done for the next WAC meeting, and we've had some rumblings of some future agenda items that we're going to propose forward. So we'll look to be a lot busier in our next WAC meeting. And I'm not part of the fun group you have today, but I think maybe in our next meeting I'll contribute a little bit more to that fun. So
And
thanks.
we look forward to that. Just for the group's awareness, 1.8, what does that cover?
That is the high frequency radio location. So
And I think you have 2 or 3 preliminary agenda items that have been assigned to your group. Do you remember them
Correct.
off the top of your head, just so the group's aware?
one is the one off the top of my head is the 5 gigahertz RNSS. Greg graciously gave us that to offload some work from the the other groups.
Okay, so we'll see a lot more movement in Kim's group this upcoming 2 meetings, and I think it's 1.8 and the preliminary agenda items that we'll try to knock out. So look forward to working with you.
Yep, thank you. You get more fun now.
Okay, thank you. Our next group is IWG2, and we have a status report from Dadaline Mame. Thank you, Dadaline.
There we go. Thank you. Good morning. I think it's still morning. Morning, everyone. Dadaline Mame, Chair of IWG2. IWG2 met twice and received 2 proposals for agenda item 1.7, focused on identification of a 4 gigahertz band for IMT, and 1 proposal for agenda item 10, focused on WRC 31 preliminary agenda item 2.6. IWG2 previously submitted a non-consensus proposal to the WAC for agenda item 1.7, focused on the 7-8 gigahertz band with 3 views. We've made a bit of progress. This time, our submission focuses on the 4 gigahertz band, and there are 2 views offered for consideration as views A and B on a non-consensus basis in document 53. View A proposes no change to the table of frequency allocations for the 4.4 to 4.8 gigahertz band on a global basis, indicating first that the scope of resolution 256 limits consideration to regions 1 and 3, and second, that there are ongoing safety concerns in the adjacent 4.2 to 4.4 gigahertz band, which is used by radio altimeter systems operating under the Aeronautical Radio Navigation Service. View B supports identification of IMT in the 4.5 to 4.8 gigahertz band globally, citing the need for identification of sufficient mid-band spectrum for IMT to be able to address digitalization, such as sustainable smart cities, and reduce the digital divide in the Americas. The proposal considers the operation of radio altimeters in the 4.2 to 4.4 gigahertz band and invites administrations to consider implementing IMT in the 4.5 to 4.8 gigahertz band to account for the ongoing standardization activities of radio altimeters and take all practical measures to ensure continued safety of life operation of radio altimeters in the 4.2 to to 4.4 gigahertz band. With this description, I present document 53 for consideration and approval.
Okay, thank you, Dadaline. So document 53 is before the WAC for approval to send to the FCC. Contains 2 views. Can we consider it approved by the full Work Advisory Committee? Okay, great, thank you very much. So Dadaline, your next document, document 54.
Thank you. Agenda item 10 considers future agenda items for WRC 31, and there are 5 preliminary agenda items assigned to IWG 2. We have reached consensus on a proposal for WRC 31 preliminary agenda item 2.6, which considers its identification of frequency bands between 102 and 275 gigahertz for IMT. In document 54, IWG2 presents a proposal to discontinue agenda item 2.6 and suppress the corresponding resolution 255, citing ongoing research and development of potential IMT applications and enabling technologies in those bands. The proposal notes that the position is specific to WRC 31 and does not prejudge continued technical work within an ITUR or possible consideration of a future WRC agenda item when a sufficiently mature technical basis and demonstrated spectrum need has been established. With this description, I present document 54 for consideration and approval.
Okay, thank you, Dadaline. So document 54 is before us today. Are there any comments from the membership, or can we consider it approved by the full WAC? Okay, seeing none, the document 54 is also approved. Thank you very much, Dadaline. Are there any questions online?
No.
Okay,
Great, thank you very much.
thank you, Dadaline.
Just real quick, Dadaline. Sorry, just for the folks that aren't plugged in all the time, if you could just give it a survey of like what's remaining on your docket, just so people know where to participate and when.
We have for agenda item 1.7, the 14 gigahertz band. That is one where NTIA has submitted, as Dr. Patton just mentioned, has submitted a proposal, and so that will be reviewed by the WAC during our next, reviewed by IWG2 during our next 2 sessions coming up this summer. And we have agenda item 1.10, which is protection of mobile in the 780 gigahertz band. We're working on a proposal there, so we expect to have something for the next WAC meeting. And finally, I mentioned we have 5 preliminary WRC 31 agenda items. I anticipate that there'll be hopefully proposals on those that we can submit as well.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
And so as we transition to IWG 3 and Chair Alex Epstein, Alex is going to highlight the different FSS and regulatory matters. I just want to flag that the FCC will be publishing our recommendations in a public notice either today or tomorrow, and there will be a very short public notice and comment period associated with it. So if you have further feedback on these recommendations, please take note of that and participate in the process.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Epstein. I'm the chair of IWG3, dealing with the issues of the fixed satellite service. IWG3 met twice since the last WAC. We considered proposals on agenda item 1.3, agenda item 1.4, and agenda item 1.6. All of those proposals were approved for consideration on the WAC today. We also considered proposals for agenda item 2 under 18.6 to 18.8 gigahertz. That was also approved for consideration of the WAC today. There's also 5 other agenda item 10 proposals under consideration in my group. Those were tabled for further discussions. Additionally, we considered 2 draft proposals to suppress items on the preliminary WRC 31 agenda. Those will be under consideration at our meeting today. Additionally, we had 1 proposal for agenda item 4 and 1 proposal for agenda item 9.2. Those are still under active consideration in the group. So moving on to documents being considered today. So if we can start with document 55, the draft preliminary proposal on agenda item 1.3. Thank you very much. So agenda item 1.3 is an agenda item to allocate the frequency band 51.4 to 52.4 for the use of NGSO gateway uplink allocations. The proposal was previously approved by the previous WAC, but there was one outstanding element regarding the protection of EESS passive. In the first proposal that was approved previously, those values were listed as TBD. Under further consideration and further technical studies that have been conducted, we have filled out those proposals. It is noted that that is the only change with this proposal, and there should be no other change with the previously approved WAC document. So with that, I present document 55 for consideration.
Thank you, Alex. I believe there were one or two editorials at the top where we changed it from WRC 19 to WRC 27, and the only substantive change are the limits actually being completed now.
Thank you.
So with that introduction, Alan graciously scrolling through the document, are we good to approve this? Seeing no hands, document 55 is approved. If you want to proceed to 1.4.
Great, thank you. Document 60 is the preliminary proposal for agenda item 1.4. Agenda item 1.4 seeks an allocation of 17.3 to 17.7 gigahertz to the fixed satellite service in Region 3. This is another proposal that was previously approved by the WAC, approving the allocation for in Region 3. Additionally, at the last meeting of CTEL in Dominica, there was discussions with Brazil and Canada about additionally inserting the footnotes 5.515A and 5.15B. These are two footnotes that were applied to Region 2 under previous agenda item in WRC 19 that also considered these frequency bands. And it was just oversaw when we developed this proposal previously about those two footnotes. So the only change in this proposal is to include those editorials or those notes as part of the proposal for Region 3. And with that, I present this document for your consideration.
Thank you, Alex. So with that introduction, the scrolling, is this document approved by the WAC? Seeing no hands, document is approved. We continue to agenda item 1.6.
Thank you very much. Document 56 presents a preliminary proposal for agenda item 1.6. Agenda item 1.6 is to seek access to the equivalent access to the Q&V band frequencies for the fixed satellite service. The document notes that the studies that have been taken into account have not found a suitable solution that would not unduly change the coordination procedures that we currently have in the radio regulations. So with that, this document proposes a no change consideration under this. So with that, I present document 56 for your consideration.
Thank you. Is this document approved by the WAC? Seeing no hands, document is approved. You can move to the next one, Alex.
Thank you. Document 57 is a proposal, agenda item 10 proposal for, I'll wait till that comes up. There's a proposal for the work of the conference, so a proposal for agenda item 10 to be a WRC 31 agenda item. And this seeks to study the frequency band 18.6 to 18.8 to remove the limitation in footnote 5.522B. This limitation is 20,000 kilometers, so NGSO systems with orbital altitudes below 20,000 kilometers cannot use these frequency bands. So the document notes that there has been technological advances and more usage of NGSO systems and seeks access or seeks the study of removal or relaxation of the particular altitude limitation in this frequency band. So with that, I present this document for your consideration.
Thank you, Alex. So we have our first proposal for future agenda item on the screen. Are we good to approve it? Seeing no hands, this document is approved. 4 for 4. Keep up the good work.
Okay. Document 58 is also an agenda item 10 proposal, but this seeks to discontinue agenda item 2.3 of the preliminary agenda for WRC 31. Agenda item 2.3 is to seek the study of eSIM and KU band in 12.75 to 13.25 gigahertz. The document notes that there's not a lot of usage in this frequency bands as the reason for suppression of this preliminary agenda item. So with that, I present this document for consideration.
Thank you, Alex. I'm sure this one is music to the ears of many people, suppressing some resolutions. So is this document approved by the WAC? Seeing no hands, I have a fifth document that you've approved. Good job.
So document 59 is also a preliminary agenda item for WRC 31, and this document seeks suppression of agenda item 2.4, which is intersatellite links in the C-band. This document notes, again, the lack of usage of this, and with that, I present this document for your consideration.
Thank you, Alex. We did receive word before the meeting that there might be one or two interested parties, and they're attending virtually. So, Alan, I believe one or two should have their hands raised. The screen is small, but I believe I see Trenton Kenny from Planet Labs. You may take the floor.
Thank you, George. Yes, hey, I just want to apologize here first for missing this last IWG3 meeting where this was approved. We weren't able to weigh in before this had moved forward, and just want to make sure that our concerns are heard for the record now. Given that, I'd like to request that document 59 be returned to the IWG for further discussion, including any offline conversations from the last two meetings. Not looking to necessarily relitigate what was decided, but instead it's just that the record doesn't yet reflect input that we still need to provide. And we're hoping that we're early enough in WRC 31 prep here that we can revisit this now, and it would be at very little cost. We believe that this should be a priority for the United States at WRC 31, and because the alternatives to C-band ISLs don't really solve some of the problems that we're looking at, specifically with L-band and Ka-band. As many folks know, with Ka-band, it has its own set of limitations. It's more vulnerable to weather and atmospheric attenuations, and the narrow beams make it, wide coverage relay architectures pretty hard. Similarly, with L-band, we just don't have the L-band bandwidth to support the data relay volumes that some of our LEO missions now require. However, with C-band ISLs, we believe there's much greater usage here for the capacity that already exists and is available today. And for us, the near-term data relay connectivity for U.S. LEO satellites without needing to build new infrastructure is there. If we lose this path to C-band now, effectively, we're closing off some of the most capacity-efficient options before WRC 31 convenes. So, I do want to make clear that, I see a compromise is possible here, and frankly, that, protection of incumbent services, particularly terrestrial services, could be addressed directly with agenda item within the agenda item itself. Resolution 683 already contemplates this, and more broadly, Article 21 already provides an established mechanism to protect terrestrial services from satellite services. So with that, we're open to introducing specific caveats tied to the incumbent protection and streamlining the frequency ranges under consideration if that reduces any friction here. We're not looking for an open-ended allocation, but we're just asking for a more targeted path that could unlock some capacity for alternatives that just simply cannot.
Thank you, Trenton. I don't know if you cut off there, but was that the end of your statement?
Yes, it is.
Very good. Are there any other folks that would like to comment on this topic? Yes, Mike. Is there a microphone that we could pass to Mike? Do we have a handheld microphone? Okay. Sorry, Mike, you got to come to the front.
First, thank you so much for the comments from Planet Labs. I really appreciate the cooperation that we've had in IWG3 in driving a consensus proposal that was submitted to the WAC on the suppression of agenda item 2.4. Authorizing new ISL transmissions anywhere in the C-band would undermine the Commission's flexible use goals for the entire band and resurrect exactly the kind of satellite presence that the Commission's clearing policy was designed to eliminate, specifically just 2 weeks ago when it agreed to clear the upper C-band for terrestrial use operations. Some of the comments that we've heard about the issues with ISLs that were accommodated through WRC 19 and WRC 23, atmospheric or weather conditions don't apply in space. There aren't weather conditions in space. So we would encourage the WAC to agree to submit this proposal to the FCC for further consideration, document the concerns that were raised by Planet Labs. Sending it back to IWG3 would only inevitably lead to a View A, View B, which is, I think, what we have today. And the public notice process enables us to elicit additional comments and see if there's any room for compromise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Would anyone else like to take the floor here? Go ahead.
Sorry, thank you. Numan from Ericsson, and I would just like to second what Mike just said and agree with it. And thank you, Rocket Lab, for presenting this. I just want to second the statement that Mike made. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so we have heard now from 3 parties, 2 of which would like to see this advanced with the note that Planet Labs is flagged here, and for any further feedback to be provided in the public notice process. And then Planet has separately asked that this document be returned to IWG3 for further consideration. We did receive word about this earlier, so we were able to coordinate. Kim and I discussed, and we discussed with the FCC staff, and we are going to send this back to IWG3, and we do that in the spirit of we want to actually have these conversations unpacked a bit, because this is the first time Planet has intervened, and we want to understand what the issues are, and maybe there's a way forward here. Ultimately, that is what we're trying to drive, is fully consensus documents and recommendations to the FCC. And so with that, I think that's the end of your litany of items, but well done, all of them but one.
Yeah, thank you. Do you have any questions for me before I?
Yes, because I put the others on the hot spot, so you should also feel the wrath too. Just give the audience a brief recap of what to expect over the next 2 meetings in addition to this other preliminary agenda item.
Sure, well, we have one more that should be a fun one to deal with since the ISL one just got sent back. But we also have, as I mentioned, 5 agenda item 10 proposals that are still under consideration, 1 agenda item 4, 1 agenda item 9.2. And we were also told that there will be a proposal development for agenda item 1.1.
Could you just describe what the agenda item 4 and 9.2 proposals
Sure.
are?
Yes, agenda item 4 proposal is to consider, so as I mentioned, 17.3 plus 17.7 was allocated to Region 2, and it's under consideration for Region 3. And then NGSO eSIMs are allowed and have already been studied to be allowed in the KA band, so it's a proposal to essentially allow the use of NGSO eSIM in 17.3 to 17.7. Agenda item 9.2 is a director's report issue related to the topic of equivalent power flux density limits. There are power restrictions that NGSO satellites must abide by. The FCC just recently ruled to modify or modernize. It's being studied, so it's a proposal to make that happen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have IWG4 to deal with MSS and space science issues. And Damon Ladson, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Damon Latson. I'm the chair of IWG4, and we deal with MSS and Space Science Services. So this cycle, we've had 2 meetings, and today we are bringing forward 3 proposals for consideration. And I'll go right into the proposals. And Alan, if you could bring up document 61. So document 61 deals with agenda item 118, issue A, submitted by CTIA, and the agenda item deals with EES passive and radio astronomy protection above 76 gigahertz. The proposal updates Res 750 on unwanted emissions to RTT and FSS, and no change to Resolution 731. There are 2 parts. I believe Brian had brought this up in his presentation to 118. This only deals with issue A, which is, excuse me, is radio astronomy protection, and the other, excuse me, let me correct that. It deals with the EESS radio astronomy protection is issue B, and the IWG4 has deferred on that particular issue. So with that, I present document 61 for approval.
Okay, thank you, Damon. Are there any comments on document 61, or can we consider it approved by the full WAC? Are there any comments online, Alan?
No.
Okay, great. Document 61 is approved. Damon, your next topic, please.
Thanks, Kim. The next is document 62. And this is under agenda item 9.2 and was submitted by GPSIA. Excuse me. And this deals with PFD for RNSS in Appendix 4. And there was a Bureau circular letter, CR 151, that made a non-mandatory PFD in Appendix 4 appear to be mandatory. So this proposal will suppress data item A.17A in Appendix 4. But there's no substantive change. It was not a mandatory PFD, and this will just suppress that so it's clear that it's not mandatory and doesn't strictly apply. So with that, I present you document 62 for approval.
Okay, thank you, Damon. Are there any comments on document 62, or can we consider it approved by the WAC? Okay, seeing none in the room. Anyone ask the floor online? Okay, great. Document 62 is approved. And Damon, over to you for document 63.
Okay, document 63 is the final document IWG4 has for approval today. It deals with future agenda or preliminary agenda item 2.11. It was submitted by CTIA and QV band operators, and this is to suppress 2.11. 2.11 deals with EES space to Earth at 37.5 to 52.4 gigahertz. And the issue is that it's secondary, and there's primary studies. The proponents believe that there's no added benefit to a primary allocation, as the band is already surrounded by primary allocations, and it would suppress Resolution 814. And with that, I give it to you, Kim, for WAC approval.
Okay, thank you, Damon. So this would suppress one item out of Resolution 814,
Yeah.
this item. Okay, so document 63, are there any comments, or can we consider this document approved by the WAC? Okay, I see none in the room. Any comments online, Alan?
Not online.
Okay, great. Then document 63 is approved. And I think you can guess that George would like to have you tell the group about what's coming next in IWG4.
I was afraid of that. I didn't bring my laptop because I didn't want to be searched, and I don't have my agenda for our group with us, but I can give you some highlights. Some of the substantive discussions we've had are going in order on agenda item 1.12, which is a low data rate MSS. There's a proposal, a no change proposal. I believe it's specifically for the 2 gigahertz portion. It was asked by a participant that document be tabled. So we're not sending it forward at this point as non-consensus. We're still working in that particular document, and we'll consider it during the next cycle. Excuse me. Also, 113 is a very popular agenda item. I think we had 4 proposals our group is considering. Pascal Demy, who's here today, is a coordinator for 1.13 and has been tasked with convening offlines, which I believe at least one may have already occurred. She's nodding her head yes, so we have ongoing work for 113. Let me think if there's any other particular highlights. I don't believe we have any future agenda items. I'll look to Ben. Do we have? Yeah, in any event, if one was submitted, we certainly didn't consider it at the last meeting, but I don't believe we have any yet. I've heard that a couple of entities are contemplating submitting future agenda items, but I don't have information on what they are because they haven't been submitted yet. And if there's anything of note that I've forgotten, if anyone wants to raise it, it'll probably jog my memory. Okay, so those are 3 proposals, and previously we've had 2 other proposals from our group that have gone forward to CTEL, and that's agenda item 1.11 and 1.14, so those cleared the last WAC, and in fact, the Department of State has submitted those items to CTEL. And if there are no other questions.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Damon. And over to you, George, to talk about the future.
Thank you. So penultimate topics, future meetings. Our next meeting is going to be September 25th, which is a Friday. It starts at 11 a.m. I suspect we'll need close to the 2 hours to get through all the different recommendations that we're going to be generating over the next couple of weeks here. Separately, if you have questions on where does all this documentation live, you can click on that link there, fcc.gov/WRC27. Alternatively, you can go to ecfs.gov and type in docket 2430. And you will find everything that we've discussed here as well as in the informal working groups. Final item here is other business. And we've already previewed one of them, any disclosures that the General Counsel's office has requested. I see one hand up on Teams. We'll start there, and I think there's one person in the room that would also, 2. Okay. So go ahead, Amy.
Great, thanks so much. Again, Amy Alvarez with AT&T. As recommended by the FCC Ethics Office, I'm informing the committee that I'm serving as chair of the United States ITU Association for this year. This is a volunteer industry association role. I wasn't able to attend the last WAC meeting, so I'm making the disclosure today, so thanks.
Thank you, Amy. And then we'll start in the room. Who wants to go first? Although we got to give the mic. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Hi, I'm Robert Weller with the National Association of Broadcasters. I am also director and treasurer of the Association of Federal Communications Consulting Engineers and its scholarship fund. I'm a director of the IEEE Broadcast Technology Society and a director of the National Spectrum Management Association. All of those entities participate in FCC proceedings, and I will recuse myself if there are conflicts in matters before the WAC.
Thank you. Jennifer, you can close it out. Sorry about that, but there's more. My bad.
So thank you. Just making a disclosure, I serve on the board of the Satellite Industry Association. So everything Robert said, I will recuse myself if appropriate. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Noman Alam with Ericsson. In addition to representing Ericsson on the WAC, I do have some stock holdings that goes above a certain number like Apple, NVIDIA, and Microsoft, and I just wanted the board to be aware of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't see anyone else in the room. nor do I see anyone on Teams. So if we have no other disclosures, I would make a final remark in that we invited all of you to come meet with Kim or myself or both of us together, talk about your issues and how you want to drive process, how you want to address some of these substantive issues. Some of you have taken us up on it. A lot of you have not. And so the offer still stands. You can come find our contact information after the meeting. And last note is, we're being very clear, the train is leaving the station. Either you're getting on it or you're going to be left behind. And so we're going to drive and get as many consensus recommendations for this next meeting. And it'll definitely be for all the WRC 27 agenda items, and hope to knock out as many of the preliminary agenda item, future agenda items. Actually, maybe not, because we won't see what NTIA has provided yet. So I think we'll have to talk with FCC staff about how we'll address those for the next meeting. But with that, I'll open it up for any final questions, comments, concerns. Go ahead. Greg, you're going to have to go back.
Hi, Bob Weller with NAB again. Do we have a head of delegation for WRC 27 yet?
I'll leave that to our fearless DFO to answer.
We don't, from my understanding, we don't have an ambassador appointed yet.
Thank you. Anyone else? Awesome. Then we can adjourn this meeting, and you have another hour and 12 minutes to do whatever you want. Thank you, everyone. Take care.